Hey everyone, Guard the Leaf here. Oops, I forgot. How's everyone doing? Today I'm coming to you from White Rock. Actually, it's the same day. I just filmed this right after I was at the Peace Arch. Peace Arch is down that way in the far distance. So what you're looking at on the other side of the water is actually the United States. And this is the White Rock Pier. And I think it's the largest pier in Canada. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. I just recall reading that somewhere that it is the longest pier in Canada, but if I'm wrong, I'm sure you guys will correct me on that in the comments. I just wanted to share a social media post that my wife found and sent over to me, and it's about, I guess this person is a conservative Canadian, and it has a message that I felt was really important for everybody to hear, because it's not about the Liberals versus Conservatives versus NDP versus Bloc Québécois. It's about Canada. And this message from this person, coming from a conservative supporter, actually resonated with me. And I see it as solidarity between all Canadians, no matter what party you're with. But before I read this, I want to give everybody a thanks to everybody who's supporting my Substack as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page. Just to give everybody a little bit of an update, but my channel, I think everybody knows that my channel is demonetized, and I really appreciate the support that everybody's giving. And I've actually hired a lawyer, so I couldn't have done this without you guys, because any of the funds that is going to my Substack or Buy Me a Coffee is actually going to my lawyer fees now. So now that it is confirmed, I'm happy to announce it to everybody. I gotta pause, there's people walking by. All right, now that they're gone, back to what I was saying. I want to thank everybody because, yeah, I mean, I decided, you know what, I got to try at least. And, you know, there's signs that my channel demonetization was automated. And even the lawyer says that it sounds like you were just targeted with this mass demonetization that's going on right now. So, again, I want to thank everybody who has contributed, because your contributions to my Substack as well as my Buy Me a Coffee is helping me pay for the lawyer fees. So once again, thanks very much everyone for supporting. Another thing I want to mention too is, actually I just remembered now, when I was at the Peace Arch border, if you watched my video yesterday, I did a bit of a walk and talk video at the Peace Arch border as well as along Zero Avenue. But I actually noticed when I was going back to my car, on the Canadian side, behind the duty free, there's a parking lot there for the Peace Arch Park, I guess, for the Canadians. There were two ICE agents parked there and just having their coffee. And I thought that was weird. I mean, obviously, I'll put the picture on the screen right now that I took, and you can clearly tell that these guys are ICE agents. I mean, they got the back, it might not see it in the picture, but in the back it shows ICE, and on the front it shows police. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're not Canadian. But I just found it weird that they're on Canadian soil, behind the Canadian duty-free, sitting there having their little coffee. So if anybody knows why, or if this is allowed, I mean, I just found it weird that they're on our Canadian soil, parked there having coffee. So if anybody knows, you know, comment on it, and maybe I'll talk about it a little bit more. But what I want to do now is I just want to read out this post about the Canadian conservative who is showing solidarity, and you know, and it also proves that no matter what party you're with, you know, you're still part of Canada. So let me read it out. I have considered myself a Canadian conservative for most of my adult life. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I believe in free enterprise and free trade. I believe government should live within its means, reward hard work and entrepreneurship, and create conditions in which individuals and businesses can prosper. I believe deeply in Canada. The last beliefs matter more to me today than the name of the political party I have traditionally supported. You guys are listening to this live. Usually when I read out my articles, I do a bit of editing because I stutter a lot and I read faster with my eyes than I can speak. So you're seeing this live, so if it's not perfect, I'm sorry. So I want to say something that perhaps some people know my politics won't expect. Prime Minister Mark Carney was right to walk away, and this is coming from a conservative voter. He was right because there comes a point in every negotiation when reaches a deal becomes less important than refusing to accept a bad deal. Canada negotiated, we compromised, we were patient, we acted in good faith. But there must be a line. When another country seeks terms that are unfair to Canadian workers and businesses, That compromises our ability to trade freely with the rest of the world. That begins to encroach upon Canadian decisions that properly belong to Canadians. That line has been crossed. At this point, it stops being liberal versus conservatives, and I'm very happy to hear that. I've become Canadian, and I am Canadian, and I'm proud of the country that has historically been a reliable friend, neighbor, and trading partner. We honor our agreements. We don't threaten our friends every time we want something from them. We don't believe that economic strength gives us the right to bully those whom we trade with. Just for the record, I know I mentioned this before, but for me, my voting has been all over the place. And I mentioned it in the past, I vote for the person and the leader that I feel will be right for Canada. So, I have voted Conservative in the past, I have voted Liberals, NDP. For me, it's really about the person, I'm not tied to the party. So I just want to clarify that. Okay, back to the article. We negotiate firmly but fairly. For decades, Canadians could reasonably assume that agreements made with the United States meant something. Increasingly, we have been forced to confront a very different reality. Tariffs, threats imposed, removed, and threatened again, deadlines created and changed, agreements questioned, and new demands introduced when negotiations appear close to completion. Holy shit, I'm having a hard time reading today. How do you negotiate the last economic security when the terms can change with the political winds in Washington? I think we can all agree with that. I think Mark Carney said it the best. The agreement was written in pencil. Back to the article. At some point, Canada has to say, enough. Not angrily, not arrogantly, but firmly. We are 40 million Canadians living in the second largest country on earth. We possess extraordinary natural resources, energy, minerals, agricultural capacity, technology, talents, and ingenuity. We are not powerless, and we are not for sale. But standing up for Canada cannot simply be something we expect Mark Carney, Pierre Poilievre, our premiers, our trade negotiators to do for us. We have a role in this too. We have genuinely believed that Canada should not surrender at the negotiation table. Then Canadians need to demonstrate the same resolve in our own lives. Vacation in Canada, buy Canadian, look at the label. When there are Canadian alternatives to an American product, choose it. Support the Canadian farmer, the Canadian manufacturers, and Canadian retailer and the Canadian worker. And yes, reconsider that trip south of the border. I don't think we have to worry about that if you're following my channel. But again, we're in the grand scheme of things, the Guard the Leaf community and even all of the content creator communities, we're still a very small piece of the pie. I have nothing against extraordinary Americans. They remain our neighbors, our friends, and in many cases, our family. This isn't about hostility towards everyday Americans. I question that. I don't want to say all Americans. I mentioned it so many times on my channel. I don't want to generalize. But we do have to accept and identify that there are some Americans in the United States that do not want us there and that do want everything that's going on right now. So, anyways, back to the article. For years, we have casually assumed that the United States was our natural destination for our vacations, our products, our investments, and overwhelming majority of our exports. Perhaps the difficult movement is to force us to ask a question we should have asked years ago. Why? Why should Canadians discover more of Canada? Why shouldn't Canadian businesses aggressively pursue customers in Europe, Asia, and the rest of the world? Why shouldn't we remove the ridiculous barriers that sometimes makes it easier to trade north-south across an international border than east-west across a provincial one? That's a good point. I haven't caught up in terms of what the inter-provincial trade barriers still are, but I do hope those get taken down. And why should we use this moment to build a stronger, more independent, and more economically resilient Canada? That, to me, is what Canada Strong should mean. National sovereignty matters. Economic independence matters. Free trade must also mean the freedom to trade. And a deal is only worth signing when the people on both sides reasonably expect the terms to be honored. There is no honor with the United States. I will disagree with Mark Carney on issues. I will criticize his government when I believe criticism is warranted. Supporting our country does not require surrendering our political beliefs. But neither should our political beliefs prevent us from recognizing leadership when we see it. I believe Mark Carney demonstrated this leadership. And let me remind everybody, what I'm reading out is from a conservative voter. Walking away from the negotiation table wasn't weakness. Sometimes walking away is something of the strongest negotiation position you have. Oh man, this is what I'm really glad to hear this, because I've been saying that sometimes, walking away is the best thing you can do. And, whether it's walking away from trade deals or relationships in the United States or walking away from a vacation in the US. I've been saying this, and I'm really happy to hear this. And shit, I just lost my spot. Okay, there may be economic pain. Some Canadian businesses and workers may bear an unfair share of it, and the rest of us should be prepared to stand behind them. Governments in every political stripe should work together to support those industries and communities. But the alternative cannot be accepted as a bad agreement simply because we are frightened of what happens without one. Because once you demonstrate that threat works, there will always be another threat. Again, exactly what I've been saying is that my example right now is that the digital service tax. We dropped that in good faith. And like I said in all my videos, look where that got us right now. It got us another 50% tariffs. So, you know, if I had my way, I would say, you know what, fuck you, USA, and here's your digital service tax. But, you know, I'm just a dude. With a fucking mosquito bite now. Oh, jeez. Sorry about that. I just got bit. Anyways, another threat, another tariff, another deadline, another concession, another line we've been asked to cross. Canada needs to negotiate with strength, diversify our trading relationships, and make it clear that we remain ready to to reach a fair and mutually beneficial agreement with the United States. But fair must remain the operative word. And until that agreement is available, we stand together. As Canadians, as our American friends have every right to pursue what they believe in their national interests, and we have the exact same right. So buy Canadian products, take Canadian vacations, support Canadian businesses, stand behind Canadian workers, and give our negotiators the room to say no when the deal isn't good enough. Because this is our economy. This is our country, our economy, our sovereignty, and our future. We don't need to hate anyone else to love Canada. We simply need to remember that generations before us stood instinctively. We are Canadians, we stand together, and Canada is worth standing up for. Courtesy of Mark Scheufel. Mark Scheufel. Whew, that was a long article. So now that you've heard that article, I'm curious to see what everybody else feels, because I feel that a lot of the article, what was said, let me pick the camera back up. I feel that a lot of what the article was saying was stuff that I have been saying, just a regular Canadian. And I know that if I'm saying it and many of the GTL community agree with what I say, then we're all aligned. But the biggest thing the biggest reason why I wanted to read this out for everybody is because I know that within Canada, you know, we have our own internal battles, you know, conservatives versus liberals versus NDP versus Bloc Québécois. And, you know, I'm not a political channel. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really kept up with internal Canadian politics as much, and it's a lot tougher for me now because I'm not in Canada. Hey, there's the White Rock. So if you guys come to White Rock, there's a big white rock right there. I guess that's why they call it White Rock. Here, you guys can see it. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not the most in tune with Canadian politics, and that's why I've always been referring people to go watch the other Canadian content creators. I mean, Bill Kelly or Todd Maffin or even Klaus Kellerman or anybody else. I mean, there's lots of us out there that can answer the questions that I can't. But one thing I do know is that now is the time for Canadians to what's the word? Come together. Doesn't matter what political party you're with. And the full reason why I wanted to read this out is because the letter that I just read out came from a conservative voter or a conservative supporter. And I feel now, I mean, I've seen it in my comments before. I mean, obviously, I know the conservative leader is a bit of a, anyways, you guys know what I mean. But, you know, there comes a time where even a conservative voter can put down his allegiance to his party and see that our government right now is doing what's best for the country. So I just want to read that out, make sure that I don't know who everybody supports. I mean, it's not really important. What's important is that whatever political party you're with right now, or you have voted for, or whatever you support, my advice and what I could say is don't think about your party, think about what Canada is, right? Because if you continue to support your party, even if your party might not be thinking what's best for Canada, there's a chance that you might not have a Canada, and that's what I'm concerned about, right? So I've had many of my viewers, you know, for voters from all parties and even independents, reach out to me saying, you know what, I don't like the Liberal Party. I'm not a Liberal voter, but I support what Mark Carney does. And, you know, they realize that this is like, you know, a critical time. It's not just like an everyday regular time, it is critical. So it's good to hear that, it's good to see that. And I think, you know, there's a time when we need to really just, fuck, why am I not thinking about the word? Come together. What's the word for come together? Anyways, I think you understand what I mean. So I hope you got a little bit of value out of this letter that I just read out. And, you know, I think it is, you know, this is like, you know, red alert time for Canada right now. And especially with Taco Tuesday deciding that he's going to throw more on us in 2027, you know, we really got to start upping the Buy Canadian and things like that. So, all right, I'm already at, holy shit, I'm already at like 16 minutes. I was going to do a bit of a walk for you guys, but I've already realized that I'm like overtime. So if those of you who don't or are only here from, you know, the political stuff, I guess you can kind of drop off now, but I'm actually going to take a walk on the pier and just, fucking spider webs. I'm just going to take a walk on the pier and do a little bit of rambling, I guess. So yeah, if you want to drop off now, I won't hold it against you, but I'm just going to keep walking. Yeah, I did I forget anything? Oh, shit. No, I'm good. I think I got everything. Yep. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna walk along the pier, but I want to go back to that ICE agents on Canada soil thing, because I'll put it back up on the screen, but I just find this really weird. I mean, is there like a agreement between Canada and ICE that the agents themselves are allowed to like just loiter on our property or our land? Because yeah, that just seems really weird to me. So I mean, then again, I just got back, so I'm not sure if this is normal, but I kind of feel that it isn't, and you know, this word kind of needs to get out. But other than that, my jet lag's a little bit better today. I think I'm you know, not as tired waking up. I did wake up at 4 a.m. though, so it is a little bit, I'll probably feel it at about 3 or 4. But for anybody not from the Lower Mainland, this is a nice area. It's there's a bunch of restaurants up on the road there. I'm gonna walk over that way so that everybody can see. And I know there's a lot of international viewers and even those in Canada that have never been to British Columbia. So I want to make sure that I show everybody, you know, where I'm from. And let me just, yeah, this railroad track goes all the way along White Rock, and you can see up there that there's gates. Train went by earlier. I didn't catch it in time, but usually they have trains coming through here and you gotta stop and then you can go after. I mean, yeah, so. But yeah, I want to, oh my God, I think that's my old coworker. Shit, I think that's my old coworker. Oh well. Let's see, I think in the next couple of days I'll probably end up going to Steveston as well, so I'm gonna show everybody the Steveston Pier. And probably get my Padgos as well. It's a fish and chips place. I've been craving it for a while, so that, or else there's another place in Burnaby that my friends and I used to go to. Maybe I'll go to that one. So anyways, this is the pier. Let me just fix the setting. White Rock, Canada's longest pier. Yeah, okay, so it is. I wasn't wrong. It is Canada's longest pier. So we'll take a walk down. Oh, I'm in these guys' picture. It's a really big tourist spot. I was sitting over that way. I think a while ago, I can't remember how many years ago, but the pier was actually washed out because of a big storm. And I think I'll walk towards it and I'll show everybody where the pier was washed out, because there's a new part of it. But looks like they rebuilt pretty quick. Tide is out. And you know one thing, I mean, this is just me rambling right now. The smell of low tide. I'm sure if you live by the water, you know what I'm talking about. And it's, strangely enough, I oddly miss it, especially with me growing up on the water. You know, the smell of like the low tide, the seaweed, and everything else is something that I grew up with, and I have to admit, I was missing it when I was in Malaysia. So I gotta take advantage of it now. Let me take a panoramic view for you. So along the water the whole way, there's a lot of shops and restaurants and things like that. I'll keep going. But yeah, I was saying it's some people have asked me, you know, are you coming back? And yeah, obviously. I mean, my plan is just get my job done, do what I need to do, and then come back. Now, obviously, there's going to, you know, the possibility of extensions or whatever else, but my home is always going to be Canada, and it's not going to be something where I'm going to relinquish my citizenship. I would never do that. I mean, I understand people that have dual citizenship and why they do it, and you know, everyone's got their own reasons, but you know, for me, I'm just a visitor in Malaysia. That's how I see it. I don't see myself being there long term. But you know, it's not my home. I'm just a visitor. That's how I feel. How I see myself. All right, I think we're on the new part. I think this part got washed out. Oh yeah, it did. There's you can see on the ground here, there's a lot of plaques of people who donated to get the pier redone. So this whole part right here has name plaques for everybody that has donated. So yeah, but no, I mean, some people have asked, you know, GTO, are you coming back? And I said, yeah, of course. I just, when the job's done. But, you know, living abroad has opened my eyes. You know, I've said in my previous video that I was a little shit back then. I mean, I think I was so siloed into Vancouver life and BC life that I never really experienced what it's like to, you know, live outside of Vancouver. And it's how do I say it? It's awakening or eye-opening, I guess, and it's also humbling as well. So all right, I just realized this video is almost approaching 25 minutes, and I don't know how many people are still watching, but I hope everybody got a good idea of what White Rock is about. And you know, if you ever visit Vancouver, definitely recommend visiting White Rock in the summer. I mean, this is like perfect weather right now. People are swimming, and I'm pretty sure you can dig for clams here. So I can't know. I think it was here that I used to do that as a kid. But yeah, hope everybody had a good little tour of White Rock, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks, everyone.